Hello everybody, I am Jackie and you are listening to Jackie Teaches English. This podcast has been created for all of you out there learning English and is designed to help intermediate speakers become more fluent. Each week, you will improve your listening skills, learn new vocabulary, and learn more about the English-speaking world. Want to read along with the audio? Go to www.jackieteachesenglish.com where you will find a transcript of this episode. Without further ado, let's dive in. Have you heard the children's nursery rhyme, London Bridge is falling down? It goes like this. London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. In this episode, I want to explore the history of London Bridge and figure out why it is most famous for, well, falling down. In order to do that, we need to go back in time because London Bridge has a history dating back over 2,000 years. As you probably already know, the Thames River runs through the capital city of London. It is believed that the Romans first built a pontoon bridge in 43 AD. A small trading settlement took root and became the town of Londinium, where London gets its modern name. It would eventually become the administrative and commercial capital of Roman Britain, and the bridge offered uninterrupted traffic across the Thames River. A fixed wooden bridge was constructed in 984 AD. Sadly, it would be short-lived, for it was torn down by Viking invaders in 1014. Following the Norman conquest in 1066, William the Conqueror rebuilt the bridge. It was, however, destroyed by a fire in 1136. Fire will be a common theme in this tale. Have you heard the story about Thomas Becket? He served as Lord Chancellor and was Archbishop of Canterbury under the reign of Henry II. Once friends, the two became enemies, engaging in a conflict over the rights and privileges of the Church. Thomas Becket was later murdered by King Henry II's followers, but was soon made a saint by Pope Alexander III. How does he feature into our story about a bridge? Well, Henry II was repentant, meaning he felt remorse and guilt for the death of Becket. As part of his public penance, he commissioned the first stone bridge to be built with a chapel in the middle dedicated to St. Thomas. It's strange to think of a chapel in the middle of a bridge. But you may be surprised to know that the chapel wouldn't be the only building on the bridge. Merchants and traders soon moved onto the bridge and built shops and houses, so that the bridge was completely covered. This unfortunately led to very cramped conditions with a fire risk, which happened in 1212, when a fire broke out on either side of the bridge, trapping many people in between. This tragedy didn't stop people from living on the bridge, however. Far from it. By the 14th century, there were 140 houses on the bridge. They originally only had 2 stories, but they built upwards, all having between 4 and 6 stories. It really must have been a sight to behold. Who were these merchants and traders? They were mostly haberdashers, merchants dealing in men's clothing and accessories, glovers, those selling gloves, cutlers, merchants selling cutlery, knives, forks, spoons, etc., and bowers and fletchers, merchants selling bows and arrows. There were also, interestingly, 2 public latrines, or toilets, on either end of the bridge. In 1481, one of the latrines fell into the Thames River, and 5 men drowned. Does seem like a rather undignified way to go. Of course, another odd and gruesome feature of the bridge was the tradition of displaying the severed heads of traitors on spikes. This started with the head of William Wallace, the Scottish rebel, in 1305, and this morbid decorating trend really took off and continued until 1660. Some of the more famous heads to feature on the London Bridge include Sir Thomas More and Oliver Cromwell. In 1598, a German visitor counted 30 heads in an account he wrote about his trip to London. London is thankfully quite a bit more welcoming nowadays. Sadly, fire destroyed the houses on the northern end of the bridge in the early 17th century. See, I told you fire was a theme here. However, this actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise. When the Great Fire of London in 1666 ravaged the city, the empty part of the bridge served as a fire break and stopped the fire from spreading to the area of Southwark. Being such an important crossing point for the city, traffic soon became a problem. In order to control the flow of pedestrians and carriages, a policy was made in 1722 for traffic on the bridge to keep to the left. This is thought to be a possible origin for why traffic in Britain is always on the left, unlike its European neighbours. However, it was soon clear that the bridge was no longer fit for purpose, and so the London Bridge Act of 1745 was passed, which allowed the city to purchase all of the properties on the bridge. They demolished them, and the bridge was renovated and improved. In 1821, the government decided to rebuild the bridge again. Plans created by the Scottish civil engineer John Rennie were selected, and the bridge opened in 1831. It was a great success. Or was it? Unfortunately, the bridge was a victim of its own success. By 1896, London Bridge was the busiest point in all of London, with up to 8,000 pedestrians and 900 vehicles crossing it every hour. Due to this increase in traffic, it was soon discovered that the bridge was slowly sinking. Okay, this time the bridge didn't fall down. It was just slowly sinking into the river. What a shame! What a beautiful bridge! But it wouldn't go to complete waste. The City of London sold the bridge, stone by stone, to an American entrepreneur named Robert McCulloch. The bridge was dismantled, and 10,000 tons of granite blocks were shipped to America and later reconstructed at Lake Havasu City, Arizona, where you can still go and see it today. So, if the old London Bridge is in Arizona of all places, what is now in London? The current London Bridge was finished in 1972, directly over the foundations of the old bridge, and it was opened by Queen Elizabeth II. Did this one fall down? Not yet. It is sadly not as attractive as its predecessors, and it certainly pales in comparison to the iconic Tower Bridge with its 2 towers. This one is made from concrete and steel, and looks, well, functional. It may not be a looker, but it hasn't fallen down, it hasn't caught fire, and it hasn't sunk into the river. So I think London Bridge deserves our praise and admiration. A little round of applause, please. As we have discovered, the history of London Bridge is entwined with that of the city itself. It fell down. It burned. It sunk. It was sold to Arizona. Despite plenty of bad luck, London Bridge represents the motto, when at first you don't succeed, try again. And on that positive note, we are going to wrap it up here. Thank you for joining me on this journey through history, and I hope you found it interesting and picked up a new word or two. Remember that you can find the annotated transcript with vocabulary and grammar notes on my website, JackieTeachesEnglish.com. If you like what I do, please leave me a rating on your podcast app, like this episode, and follow me so you don't miss the next one. I appreciate your support. Thank you for listening and take care. Until the next time, bye!